Donald Trump may not be on the ballot in Canada, but his shadow is looming large as Canadians head to the polls today. Donald Trump's threats of tariffs and making Canada the 51st state, the election has shifted from domestic issues to a referendum on national sovereignty. Liberal Prime Minister Mark Carney, who took over for Justin Trudeau last month, has built his campaign around promising to defend Canada's independence. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre, meanwhile, has struggled to shake off questions about his alignment with Trump-style politics. President Trump weighed in on the race just a moment ago, calling for Canada to become the 51st state, and he promised zero tariffs, free military power, and quadrupled industry if Canada joins the U.S. The president also calling the current border artificially drawn and said it was meant to be, and he also claimed America can no longer afford to subsidize Canada without a full merger. New polling shows a sharp generational divide here. A Nano survey found younger voters are much more likely to back conservatives, while older voters lean more liberal. The poll also shows men are more likely than women to support conservatives. Overall, liberals hold a slight edge nationally. The race, though, remains close. Joining us now, Dr. Wright, a political scientist at Princeton University. What a landscape politically to look at this race and kind of Trump's overshadowing as people head to the polls today. What do you make of all of this?
And those poll shifts have been drastic since January. The conservative candidate Poilievre was pretty far ahead and his policy proposals remain popular, but we've seen almost a 20-point swing toward the liberal side. And it's really hard to look at Trump and this newfound nationalism in Canada and sort of a sturdier posture from the liberal leader Carney about how we have to stand up to the U.S. and not ascribe at least part of that poll shift to Trump himself. On the other hand, he's one question. The U.S. is usually one or two questions in these debates and interviews that the candidates have, and they have plenty of their own problems. And so there's also reason to believe the conservative candidate might prevail.
Talk about just sort of the generational shift of all of this. And also, is that reflective here in the U.S. as younger and older voters are polled about how they feel things are going politically?
It's very similar, and a lot of it is driven by the same economic concerns we have in the U.S. that put Trump in office. Canada also has a housing shortage, which a lot of experts and candidates attribute to overregulation. They also have tremendous inflation. They have a tax problem. You know, they have a higher marginal tax rate if you look at the provincial taxes than we do in the U.S. And so a lot of those issues are concerning to younger people who are going to the polls and saying, what's my stake and what's my economic future?
And how does sovereignty, that discussion, play into all of this?
Well, it's pretty telling that both Poilievre and Carney instantly pretty much came out against Trump's bid for Canada to become part of the U.S. It's just a non-starter there. I don't think a political candidate would have a future if part of their platform was merging with the U.S.
Poilievre did come out this morning and say, President Trump, stay out of our election. If he were to be elected, what do you think that dynamic were to look like between Canada and the U.S.?
Well, it's actually the area where both candidates have sort of a similar platform. They want to stand up strongly to the U.S. If that includes tariffs, hikes, increases in response, they are open to that. And they've just both campaigned on this message of strong leadership and then have very, very different visions policy-wise for the country that were released on their platforms just a few days ago.
Well, folks are voting now. Interesting. Dr. Wright, as always, thank you. Good to see you.
Thank you.